Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Master Site. This is game 2 of the KC one day. It'll be Elves vs. Undead. So let's go ahead, just jump right into it. So my game 2 opponent was Austin Howell. Here's a picture of the handsome devil right here. He's from Wichita, Kansas. He's been playing Kings of War for quite a long time here, at least as long as I have. Um, and him and the Wichita group are pretty well known, I feel like, and pretty close to us in the Omaha area. So I've seen Austin a few times. We've played at least once, if not twice, before, and it's always a pleasure. So I was really looking forward to getting to play him again since it's been a while. So Austin brought his Undead to the tournament, and he has a very unique army, as we'll see here. So it's going to be a quick read because to start off, we just have 8 zombies regiments. So here's a picture of the army, and yeah, so he also had almost all Mantic models outside of this huge dragon, and then he has one other model that's not Mantic. Um, so after he's added 8 zombies, he says, "I need some punch now." So he took 3 regiments of Soul Reaver infantry, and then he took a regiment of Soul Reaver cavalry with the J boots. He has Lady Alona. He has a vampire on Undead Pegasus, which he gave the scrying gem because he said he had 25 points left over at the end. So, and then he has a vampire lord on Undead Dragon. So everything's pretty straightforward picture-wise. Soul Reaver infantries, Soul Reaver cavalry. This model here, I'm not even sure what line this model's from, but he was using this as his undead, a vampire on Undead Pegasus. Obviously, this massive thing, which you won't be able to miss on the board here, is his Dragon Lord. And then you can't really see, but Lady Iona is back there. It is the Mantic model. So total, he has 15 drops with 30 unit strength. Everything but Lady Iona scores. So I like the list. Um, Unfortunately, we talked a little bit beforehand, and he knows what's coming. Elf shooting against defense 2, shambling zombies. Yeah, the zombies are just target practice. So let's go ahead and jump into the game. So this is the board. Our table was closer to the windows on that opposite side of the room, so I felt like much better lighting over here. So um, we got much better pictures in the end due to that. So very happy. So the scenario we're playing is Raze, um, and yeah, so this is deployment here before scouting, but obviously Glade Stalkers are here, gonna move up. So terrain-wise, we got treated this whole left part is just one giant hill. We have a hill in the middle as well. Then we have a forest on my bottom left and a forest on the top right, as well as a little one here in that center right on my side. There are several impassable pieces, this stone statue, and then each of these trees here and here were impassable, as well as the pyramid structure. Then a couple of, or a few obstacles. So one here on the left, one on his deployment zone in the center, and one towards the right in his deployment zone as well. So no flat pieces of terrain on this one, but lots of impassable, and I found that shooting lanes were actually somewhat difficult, especially for my bolt throwers here. So deployment wise, I got to pick sides. I like this side better for the Raze purposes. I felt like that 18-inch line was just wide open on that side of the board, so I was able to place it anywhere. Whereas on this side, you kind of have to commit to go to one side or the other of this pyramid. So I won sides, deployed my first unit, and his scrying gem came in big, so I had to deploy 4 units first. And naturally, he deploys 8 zombies after I deploy the 4 units, so I pretty much had my entire army down before any of his big baddies were on the table here. But in general, I thought that was fine. I deployed a little defensively on the right, focused my shooting on the left here, and then with the bolt throwers, like I said, had some trouble with figuring out line of sight issues. But in the end, I decided that the center token's always what kind of will determine the Raze games when they get close. So this bolt thrower had a good line of sight here, anything that comes up on the hill, and then he could squeak past over to the right hand side here as well. And then this bolt thrower could also squeak through here and then hit the hill. And there was a slight line past this all the way over to the top of this hill here. So I felt like that's pretty much as best as I could do with the range for the bolt throwers here. So my whole deployment here on the left, I started with I had Silver Breeze. Next to them, I have Battle Cats. I deployed the Glade Stalkers back here, knowing that I could scout out into the position I wanted into the forest. The Drakons, or Nimue behind the Battlecast, the Drakons behind here. The idea being after these guys scout, there's going to be a spot where I can move these guys up, get their leader point into the forest, and basically just cover this half of the board with that flying hammer. I wanted to concentrate the shooting over here, so got the other Silver Breeze unit on the just inside the forest here. I have the Alchemist Curse Mage. I have the Regiment of Drakons without Brutal. Obviously, both Bolt Throwers, Horde of Seaguard, the Drakon Lord in the center here. He doesn't really have much to hex Lady Alona and the Dragon Lord, but I don't really expect either of them to be casting too many spells, so I kept him kind of centralized. And then over on the far right, I put another Battle Cat. Again, this was a pretty early deployment, not knowing where Austin was going to go. I just wanted to play a delay game over here anyway, because figure if he comes around the this big impassable, it's going to take him a while, especially if I just threaten with a couple of units like this. He'd have to, he can't really push zombies quickly over here. So I was thinking that his Cav or his Dragon Lord might be coming over here. So it was just going to be a game of delay and force him to either allow me to charge him if he wants to be very aggressive, or just play super defensive if he's going to try and utilize the impassable terrain. In the end, he doesn't put it over here. He puts it on the far left. So that opens up options for me. Whether I get first turn or not, these Drakons don't have to go that way. They can easily turn in and come to the center. Same with the Battle Cats. They don't have to go around this way. But I do like the idea if I get first turn to kind of go down that flank, knowing that he has to commit a couple units, and expensive units at that, with what he has over here. So his deployment, like I said, he dropped all his zombies first. No big surprise there. but he chose to put the dragon on the left, which his two Raze tokens, or two Raze tokens, are on this side, one's on this side, so it makes sense. Put some of the heavy hitters closer to where you know the action's going to be, and obviously two of my tokens are over here as well. So dragon, zombies, soul reaver, infantry, zombies, zombies. You can't see it. Lady Alona is right behind this impassable piece of terrain, um, which I thought was kind of an interesting position. Being as she's behind there, there's nothing she potentially could see or charge. I know he was afraid of my Alchemist Curse potential, with Lady Alona being defense 6, but I know Lady Alona's speed 7, so I know I only get one shot at her, and realistically, a defense 6 individual like that, I just don't have any interest in trying to commit to kill it, unless I'm forced to, so. Anyway, so zombie, 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 Soul Reaver infantry behind, more zombies, Soul Reaver infantry behind, another zombies, Soul Reaver Cav with J boots behind the obstacle here, and Vampire on Pegasus over on the right flank. So I scout up. Don't have a picture of the scouting, but first turn roll goes to me. And as elves, and especially in Raze, happy to take first turn. So I just push up to get into good shooting positions. My 18-inch bows, the silver rays on the left here, have to push up if I want to shoot to be in range of the Dragon Lord. So I do so. I make sure that the Drakons are out of range of the Dragon Lord and can counter if he comes in to either of these two units, are the only charges I gave him. So similar to last game, you'll see kind of a consistent pattern with how I use these guys. I want to get the value out of their bow shots, but a lot of people will have something that can threaten an 18-inch range shooting, so having that counter is a big deal to allow those cavalry to have kind of free reign. Nimue just runs up, not going to be casting any spells first turn. Gladestalkers stay still. These guys move up. Everything else just kind of nudges up forward, get in range with the Sea Guard, shooting straight bow shots there. Yep. And then on the right flank, I do kind of what I was loosely planning. I don't have a great picture, but essentially I utilize the impassable here, push up the dogs, make it to where the dogs are smaller base than the Drakons. So I can't block off the whole base. So to prevent the charge from the vampire on Pegasus, I block off the furthest side of the base, and then the space in between this and the impassable is not enough for the Vampire Lord to fit. So if he comes into the Battle Cats, I can get the jump on him, counter charge. So yeah, so we move to shooting. Everything just kind of picks a single target and shoots straight forward. Alchemist Curse goes into zombies because again, Lady Alona sitting now you can kind of see her, but sitting behind the impassable. I don't have to worry about her, so I just run up within 12 inches, get a couple more wounds on the zombie unit. I'm happy with that. So shooting, I don't end up breaking anything because I don't really focus fire into one individual unit of zombies. I don't feel I need to at this point. In certain certain units that I'm targeting, I don't really want to kill them because like this unit and this unit, if I kill them, then the Soul Reavers can just march from behind and keep up with the rest of the battle line that he'll be forming. So if I leave these guys alive, he could march through and just the zombies just aren't moving then. Um, but yeah, otherwise the zombies are effectively slowing down the units that I don't want to be in combat. So it's kind of helping me at this point. So that is my shooting. So we'll go to Austin's turn one. Um, so he does not choose to commit with anything this turn. He just side shuffles his zombie over, or his zombie dragon lord over, and moves the zombie unit onto the hill. Try to get cover right here, and then he extends his threat a little bit further as well. And Lady Ilona comes out from behind the obstacle. She actually puts a couple of heal into the zombies. Nothing major. It's also worth saying I tried to hex her because why not? I can. Might as well. And I fail, so my hex hasn't been useful yet. And then he moves up the vampire on Pegasus up to here to turn to face out this way um, to prevent me from pushing forward aggressively with these units. Pretty quick turn. Nothing too exciting or too unexpected happening here. So let's move on to my turn two. So on the left, Lady Ilona came out to play, so the Alchemist Cursecaster said, "We're out of here." So I ran him over here. He's in such a position where he's 12 inches away from the zombie dragon, but out of 12 inches of Soul Reaver infantry. So I'm going to Alchemist Curse the zombie dragon without punishment. If the dragon wants to come into the individual caster, so be it. I did make it to where the overrun into the cav is possible. I probably should have just made it impossible for an overrun off of an individual to come into here. But at the same time, I didn't actually think he would come into the unit. So um, and then otherwise things just kind of moved, shuffled, realigned. I got a little bit more aggressive with my Drakon Lord. Ran him up here. The big thing I was looking to do is put pressure onto the Pegasus character over here, so he can't just keep sitting here. He's going to have to either commit to something or get out of here. Otherwise, I have things coming in from both sides. So, and I can do this because he wasn't able to play aggressively with these guys here. If he pushed them up and they were where the zombies are, I would have to be back a little bit further because of their threat range being longer. So shooting, kind of the same idea. Just target down the units like this zombie unit that's in range of the caster. That's one of my main focus here. Don't want to give away a free charge onto her from that unit that I want expect to be dead. So we shoot and we score. So we killed that unit. Put a couple more wounds on some others over here. I did end up killing the unit in front of the Soul Reaver infantry on this side, and I killed the zombie unit that was sitting right here as well. Um, so, turn two, I feel like I stalled out um, these guys long enough, so I felt comfortable in killing the units that were in front of them. Yeah. Um, and I don't think I mentioned on the right, I move up a little bit more aggressively, make it to where the peg actually can't complete a charge on either of these two units. He's in the flank here. There's perpendicular to the obstacle, so can't fit. And then there's no space in between the Drakons. So the goal here is I'm going to force him to defend this token. Otherwise, I'm just going to easily burn it. this next turn. My Dracons are actually set up to where they can fly 20, being nimble, and end over here outside of the arc of these guys, and then pivot to where they're facing in towards this hill. And then they're really going to apply pressure to his center units from there. So I like the delivery system that I have going here on the right flank. Again, so he can charge this unit with the cav, but that puts him in a pretty exposing spot because now this Drakon Lord is able to get into anything that engages in this area. So I feel like I'm handling the right side pretty well with the lack of shooting over there and kind of controlling his some of his speedy pieces that would otherwise give me some issues. So utilizing terrain pretty effectively. So it is Austin's turn, and he's sick and tired of taking shots. So he says we're going for it. So he goes into the Alchemist Cursecaster with his Lord on Dragon, and measured beforehand. If he kills it, it is a 6 overrun, gets him into the regiment. So he was kind of playing for the Hail Mary play. Again, I with him kind of talking throughout the game, he at this point he felt like he was definitely on the back foot and needed to make some plays happen to have a chance to win the game. So don't blame him at all for it. And again, I feel like I should have just not even given that as an option. But I did and got lucky. He did not break the wizard. He did waver, which is just fine. So wizard holds. He moves this Pegasus. He flies at 10 inches into the forest. Pivot. Gets around. So I think both the dogs and I know the Dracons can see, and I think the dogs can see, or the cats can see, but it would be a hindered charge, and then he has the Cav threatening. So I do think this was probably the best move Austin could have made in this position. So I think definitely well played there, Austin. And then he moves up with everything else as quickly as he can. Lady Iona finally, I think first turn he could have made this move, and I think it would have been very beneficial for Austin, but he puts her up onto the hill. So the big thing, I don't want to. I don't want to deal with Lady Iona. Defense 6, 14, 16, life leech 2. Like I don't really have an answer to it outside of committing the horde of Dracons to charging her and just hoping I get lucky, which isn't a good plan. So I just don't want to deal with her. I want to ignore her, and so I think that one thing Austin could have done is just ran her up here onto this hill, turn 1, and basically said, "Hey, I'm not gonna let you just be within 18 inches with your short bow shots for free. I'm gonna, shut down some of that shooting with her." So he gets up there now on turn 2 in a very threatening position. So I'm gonna have to make some decisions this next turn. Otherwise, she's gonna kind of have her fun. So going into my turn 3. Oh, there's just a closer picture of that movement over on the right flank. All right, and then my turn 3. So, like I said, some of the pressure being applied, I kind of had to make some moves, and then I felt like there were some that were just advantageous. So the Horde of Dracons went into the front of the Vampire Lord on Zombie Dragon. Austin did make a mistake, and you'll see this regiment of Dracons. Front line could just barely clip the back corner of these guys here, so I was able to get them into the flank, and I took the Battle Cats into the front. Nimue decides to use the flying ability, gets a Cloak of Death, triggering a wound onto everything here. Um, everything else just kind of moves into getting shots. So I was quite lucky. I think Austin could have positioned Lady Alona a little bit better. I was actually able to just get out of 14 inches with both these units of Lady Alona. Um, and so I'm going to be able to avoid her wrath for one more turn. She's also out of 14 inches here. But this unit of Soul Reavers is within 12 inches over here. Um, I do like the odds coming into the flank. So 18 attacks, got some, maybe a wound or two from the cats into the front. The Cloak of Death triggered, and this Dragon Lord I think has like 3 or 4 wounds on it right now. So I actually think I have a decent chance of killing the Inspiring here first, making this a much more likely odds of breaking. Uh, so I felt like that was worth the investment over here. Don't see too much of a downside. And then the goal is to shoot both of these units off, in fact. So fireball from Nimue here, and then I do have a clear shot being on the hill, shooting over these 2 units that are off the hill. And I can shoot just past the Dracons into this zombie unit. Um, I also have a bolt thrower shot if necessary into that same unit. So in the center, we're just going to continue to shoot, rain down some fire. He's up on the hill, so clear bolt thrower shot now. And then on the right, I just so another thing that I don't know if Austin just missed it or didn't really care because it's zombies. So his movement up with this zombie unit, the Drakon Lord is in the flank here, so I'm able to um, make this a much more of a guarantee kill with the Drakon Lord in the flank, and the Drakon Lord has Rampage from the um, formation. So I take the Drakon Lord and the Drakons with Brutal into the front, and then I chaff up the Regiment of Cav with the Cats. So ideally, kill this unit. The Drakons will turn to face the Pegasus, which would block off line of sight to my Drakon Lord, being as all 3 of those units are height 4. Um, so then I can threaten towards the center with the Drakon Lord. So on to shooting. Oh, there's just a closer picture of that flank, and again a closer picture of this flank. So shooting, everything goes to plan. We kill both the zombie regiments that were back here with our shots. Our Glade Stalkers had clear shots. We had cover shots with the Cav. Um, and then we take out one of the regiments on the hill with the rest of our shooting between the bolt throwers, the sea guard, uh, and the other one looks like is taking quite a bit of damage as well. So into the combat phase. This is what it looks like after shooting. So combat, I waver the vampire on dragon. Um, and then I roll a snake eyes against the uh, regiment of Soul Reaver infantry. So looks like I got him up to 11 wounds. So just needed a 4 to break them or to waver them at the very least, but wasn't meant to happen. So they live. But this zombie unit died, so did the reforms as I was kind of looking. So knowing that this unit's occupied for a turn, I don't think that the Pegasus can kill this Dracon unit in one charge, especially when I have Inspiring right there. So my goal then is his cavalry will be held up for a turn by the cats and then a turn by the Dracons. So it should allow me to deal with the center before having to address that cavalry unit. So bottom of turn 3, it's Austin's turn, and he does the charges that we kind of expect. So he brings the Soul Reaver infantry into the rear. Um, this is kind of later in the turn. Spoilers: he kills the cats. He countercharged the cats here. Uh, Again, wavered, so he just remains engaged over here. Lady Alona, being frustrated, just runs as close as she can to these units. The Silver Breeze have the ability to back up and just get out of line of sight by being behind the forest, but the Glade Stalkers don't have quite enough movement to do that. Um, so Lady Alona is definitely going to be able to charge something this next turn. Zombies just keep shambling forward, knowing that they aren't meant for this world. And then he makes it to where it's a front charge. If I were to take the Drakon Lord into the Soul Reavers, it also doubles, allowing him to, at the double, to get this token. Which, speaking of tokens, killing this regiment of zombies last turn allowed me to have control of that token here. So I did burn it, so I'm ahead at this point 1-0 for the Raze scenario. So let's go over here. So he kills the battle cats, puts a couple wounds onto the Drakons, but they hold. Then yep. So he clears up the left flank a little bit more. So takes out the Drakons, takes out the Battle Cats. Kind of what we expected here. So this is what it looks like beginning of my turn 4. So again, things kind of going how I anticipated, how I planned. We have all the zombies cleared up except for this one unit that's already half dead. So now it's time to focus on the Soul Reavers, and in particular, my goal is to clear off this left flank, securing the 2 tokens that are over here in the next turn or two, and making it to where it should be almost impossible for him to come get these 2 tokens, which should in itself just secure the win. So my movement, instead of committing the Drakon Lord, I go ahead and fly him over, take the token over here. I then, after looking at angles, I charge the zombies instead of trying to shoot them. So this will allow Seaguard to pivot after killing the zombies, and pivot in such a way that they'll be out of the front arc of the Soul Reaver infantry, while keeping them in my front arc, so they won't have the ability to just back up or get out of my line of sight this next turn either. And then on the left, I move Nimue and position to position my shooting, stay still, and stay still, so that way I have clear shots over here as much as I can. My goal, this unit already had 11 wounds. It life leech 2, so it's down to 9. So my Alchemist Curse is online this turn now too. My goal is to shoot off both these units, so should be just a little bit of shooting into this one, and then the rest of it, my bolt throwers can even see and provide a couple supporting shots with cover if need be. So that is the goal here, and we accomplished that. So break both units in the shooting phase that we were looking to destroy. And we pick up the zombie dragon in combat phase. I just turn to face. Um, so right now, Lady Alona has options between the Silver Breeze Cav and the forest. She would be hindered if she goes into the Glade Stalkers, or she now can come hit the Dracons. Um, so, and then on the right flank, my countercharge is little to nothing. He has Life Leech 2, so I don't think anything's going to stick. I do kill the unit in the center and pivot as such to where just out of his front arc, but also applying pressure to him in this flank. So Austin's turn. He decides that now is his time. Again, we're playing blackjack scenario, so getting the token, even if you're going to lose the game, still does matter as far as points goes. So he decides to go ahead and do that. One thing that Austin didn't check was he moved up as far as he could. He didn't have to move up that far to be within 3 inches of the token. You'll see the token sitting right here, so kind of in the middle of that brown spot, and he moves to where he would have almost been touching the token. If he was back just another inch or two, it would have been just a flank charge. So right now, well, in my turn, I'll measure and look at the angle. It actually is a rear charge for the Sea Guard onto these guys. So just a little something that Austin overlooked. Lady Alona comes into the Drakon horde. She's in the center, but this slope wasn't being very kind, so we just left her there. So this is what it looks like after Austin's turn 4 and my turn 5 now. So I do take that rear charge with the Sea Guard, and again, it's not a guarantee. I don't have any crushing or thunderous, but Sea Guard do have vicious, do have elite, so 75 attacks, hitting on 4s with elite, wounding on 5s. So I didn't even do the math, and I'm not really going to do the math right now. I just look at it and say, well, if I kill him, I kill him. If I don't, I don't. But I'm going to take the charge. Another thing, he was outside of 6 inches to inspire there, so I felt like non-inspiring just as gravy on top, but I was going to go in there either way, I think. The rest of the army decides it's time to get to the center. The last objective here is the center because we captured the last token on the left with this unit of Silver Breeze who came down off the hill, pivoted, and moved forward. Drakon Lord turns around to face where we know the next major combat's going to happen, which is going to be with the Sea Guard over here. So everything over here ran or was out of range of anything anyway, so won't be shooting much of anything this turn. Bolt throwers might take a couple plink shots, but with the Life Leech 2 on both those units, I don't expect much to stick. We do countercharge Lady Alona, and I think I didn't do good. I think I did 1 wound to her, and I just told Austin, I'm like, don't even put the wound down. With the Life Leech 2 that she has, it's coming off anyway. So lackluster combat, but kind of expected. And then the rear charge ends up working out. So we kill the Soul Reaver infantry and we turn to face, keeping both these guys in our front so that our phalanx can do its job. And last-ditch efforts. So Austin's just going for points, so I forgot to take a picture on Austin's turn, but he double charged. It looks like he gets me up to about 13 wounds onto the unit, doesn't waver them. I countercharge back into the Cav, as well as bring the Drakon Lord and the Silver Breeze into the flank of them. Nimue had to run to get over here just to get a Cloak of Death wound out on here. and the mage was sliding off the hill, but she was majority on the hill, shooting over at the um, Pegasus character, as well as the Glade Stalkers were. Yeah, the Glade Stalkers just moved up and took some shots, as did the Bolt Throwers. So looks like I got 3 wounds on him. Not much, but happy to kill the regiment there because the center token is right here underneath that unit. So Lady Alona finishes her lunch. She backs up D3, um, and the vampire character comes back into these guys. Again, he was free to fly. He could have taken out a bolt thrower, but at this point, Austin was just consciously trying to go for more points when possible, knowing that the scenario is kind of a foregone conclusion. And then what's it called? Lady Alona ran over here. He did kill off the horde on his turn with the Pegasus character. So now I encircle him and am hoping to shoot him down. So bolt thrower shots. I was moving these guys here consciously so that I could get bolt throwers lanes as well. One mistake I noticed kind of after I had moved and everything is that the only unit on this token is the Glade Stalkers here, and um, I should kill the Pegasus character, but if I don't, it's the bottom 6 at this point, so he has the ability to charge here. Lady Alona is within range of this unit as well. So this is definitely a mistake and something, being that it's blackjack, every point matters. I should have moved the Cav further up to be within 3 inches as well. Having 2 units on here makes it almost impossible for it to even happen for him to take the center objective. So mistake on my part, something that I should have consciously been aware of at this point in the game. But in the end, doesn't matter. I kill the Pegasus character with all the shooting. Lady Alona comes in for slap, and this is where it ends because Lady Alona was not able to kill the unit. Very fun game. A couple of things that we talked about here a little bit. I think Austin could have played a little bit more aggressive against my shooting. The zombies being on the front line, kind of slowing up some of his other units. In the end, I think may have hurt Austin a little bit. But at the same time, it's not really a great matchup for his army on mine. Austin did end up going 2-1, so I was the only loss that he had. So his army did perform really well over the weekend, but I think shooting is the kind of the key weakness to the list. So when we tallied everything up, the overall score, I had 4 of the tokens. He was able to take 1. I had killed everything but Lady Iona, so it came out to 2,050 points, and he was able to kill 1,105 points. So I think that was like a 17 or an 18 point score on the blackjack scale. So after the 20 or 21 that I had in the first game, we're sitting pretty high up there, only dropping a handful of points off of max at this point. So pretty confident that we're leading the scoreboard as far as battle points go. We just got one more game left for the day. So again, thanks for the game, Austin. Had a blast and great catching up with you and Jared for the weekend. So looking forward to the next time we get to hang out and play. So next battle report should be up in a few days, and appreciate you all for watching. Hope you like it. If you like the content, like and subscribe. Let me know if you would like to see anything else. So appreciate it. Thanks for watching, guys.